Hi, welcome to Love Saranghae with Peter and Andrea. In the next 30 minutes, we'll take you on a journey into the exciting world of entrepreneurship, relationships, and the secrets behind achieving that coveted glow. Are you ready? Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of Love Saranghae with us, Peter and Andrea. Today, we're diving deep into the world of K-beauty. What is it? Why it's more than just a trend, and what truly sets it apart from your average skincare routine. We'll uncover the powerhouse ingredients that define K-beauty, explore its rich history, and answer one of the biggest questions out there. Does it really need a 10-step skincare routine to achieve that glass glowing skin? Let's break down the facts, debunk the myths, and discover how K-beauty can revolutionize your skincare game. Let's go.
Oh, interesting. This is a good one. We're going to relive some childhood memories and go down memory lane. I think a lot of the answers that we're going to talk about, or a lot of the subjects we're going to talk about, will maybe clarify some questions for our listeners, maybe even disappoint. If you had ideas that K-beauty could solve world hunger, flash news, it can't. And so some of these answers might be slightly disappointing to you. But at the very least, when you leave this podcast, you will know what Korean beauty is, why it's important, and what's next.
What it's not.
And what it's not. Here you go. All right.
All right. So the first question is, what exactly is K-beauty? How does it differ from Western skincare? K-beauty is such a trending buzzword.
Yeah.
And anytime someone says, oh, you're Korean beauty, that's amazing. But do you really know what that means?
Yeah. Okay. So in the very simplest of terms, K-beauty, which stands for Korean beauty, and which really describes skincare, not color cosmetics. Because K-beauty, color cosmetics, is really no different than Western color cosmetics. And in fact, Korean cosmetics follows Western standards. But K-beauty, which is really just skincare, stands for Korean beauty. And it, at the very simplest of terms, is skincare products derived or imported from Korea. That's it. There's no other special meaning behind it. It's just skincare technologies, ingredients, and products that come from South Korea. Not North. That's a communist country. No. South Korea. That's the simplest definition. Whatever comes out from from K-beauty. Now, historically, South Korea, historically, it vastly differed from what you saw from the Western countries. It is now becoming a little bit more aligned as the Western countries are starting to take on some K-beauty characteristics. But in its simplest words, that's Korean beauty. Oh, and by the way, when I was a kid back in Korea, before we moved, which is probably about 5 or 6 years old, my mother used to work for Mori Pacific. And we used to walk into some of the factories, but also the retail locations and 백화점, which is actually like department stores. And even back then, cosmetics and beauty industry was a big part of the Korean industry, even back as early as 1970s. It's embedded in the culture, yeah.
Little boy,
yeah.
You know all about how to protect your skin.
Yeah, yeah. And from a revenue perspective, I'm not sure if it was as big as, let's say, North America, but from pure selection, brands, and the array of ingredients available for use and for trial, so much bigger even back in the day. So much bigger. And it's still bigger now.
Yeah. What are some of the key ingredients that define a true K-beauty brand or product? Yeah.
Really good question. A couple of things. So in K-beauty, the thought of anti-aging was not really a thing in Korean beauty, historically. Now it might be different, and it probably is different. But we didn't know what retinol was, right? We didn't use vitamin C. The practice of ingredients in Korean beauty was not about refining it down to its chemical core like it was in North America. It was really about finding health products, plants, and herbal medicine that we took in our body for healing, and then put that into skincare. So it was really about healing, brightening the skin, and skin health, overall skin health. Because Korean beauty was all about prevention. You started young, right?
Right.
Most Korean women started a beauty routine when they're like early as 10 to 12 years old. So the ingredients were made to be more proactive than reactive.
Yes.
That's just the nature of the beast. Because in our culture, we just didn't use anti-wrinkle, anti-aging. By then, it was almost too late.
War wasn't to fix something.
Exactly.
War was to prevent something.
Exactly. So the idea of concentrated correctives or actives like retinol did not exist in traditional Korean K-beauty products. The other thing, too, is it's less the ingredients that makes K-beauty what it is now. It's more the adherence to innovation. Because K-beauty or the cosmetics or the skincare industry is such a big part of the Korean economic landscape, a lot of government and corporate money or economic money goes into developing machinery, processes, ingredient processing, ingredient testing, and manufacturing for cosmetics. The country of Korea is very dedicated towards its skincare and cosmetics industry because it's such a big part, and it still is, right? And that's really the differentiation between K-beauty and the rest of the world. Our technology in Korea is about 10 years ahead of North America. So, case in point, when we come up with an ingredient that we want to test, right? Let's say put into our product, like PDRN. We can, if we go into North America, there be sometimes zero companies that know how to work with that ingredient, how to stabilize it, how to extract it, how to put it into many bottles and en masse, the temperatures, the pH levels, like that would be completely new. And they don't have the equipment here for it. But in Korea, we could probably find 10 right off the cuff. Just right off going through Yellow Pages, you'll find in one corner of, one 10 square kilometer part of Korea, you'll find 10 companies that will be able to refine their technology or the processes to work with any ingredient that we find. I could name virtually any ingredient. Mushroom, I don't know, again, salmon, sperm, beeswax, who knows? They will be able to, we'll be able to find people who know how to work with that ingredient, or at least find a way to work with that ingredient.
Right.
So that advancement in technologies and know-how is what really makes K-beauty different and unique toward the rest of the world.
100%. And some of the ingredients are wild.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, we can name some right now.
The one that sticks out from the always is the horse oil.
Oh, my God. So
I remember you coming back from a Korean trip and you were like, they tried to convince me to bring horse oil to Canada. And I was like, not going to happen. Nobody will use that. That's disgusting.
So
there's some things that over there that's very normal to them that they would do, and over here we would never do. And then there's other things that are strange when you first hear about it, like snail medicine. But it's a big deal, and it works really well. So people are willing to dabble into certain things, but there's other things like horse oil that I don't think will ever.
I agree. We almost did it because I remember I was sitting on the lobby or sitting on the meeting room with it was the second manufacturing partner that we met, and he was, I was talking to him about the formulation that we wanted to produce, and he said, can I introduce you to a couple of products? So I said, sure, why not? So we walked around the plant, and he gave me this sample. He's like, this is the #1 selling product in Japan, and you should look at it. Like, what is it? I'm like, it's horse oil. I'm like, what? Excuse me? What? I did not. What is it? It's the oil of horses. I was like, whoa, I don't even, that's interesting. In North America, they're pets. You might as well have said it's the oil of a dog because horses are like pets. Yeah, they're like family members here in North America. No, you don't do that. So that was quite a shock. And then I think he wanted to sell me like starfish cream as well. Craziness, right?
So there are some things that we won't do, but there's other things that are worth exploring. Like
exactly.
you said.
Exactly.
So I guess K-beauty. So one of the things that I get asked a lot when people find out that we're a Korean beauty company is, do you have to use 10 steps to make it effective? And so people know K-beauty as being a very lengthy routine.
So
where did that idea come from? Do people really need all 10 steps?
So that's a great question, right? Because I've heard this as well, like, the 10-step routine. And I always kind of like scratch my head, right? Because I grew up with Korean beauty. My mother was in Korean beauty. And my house is full of testers and formulations and bottles. And I have never come across a 10-step beauty routine. Which, yes, my mother had a close to a 10-step. I think she, at one point in time, there was an 8-step that she was using, sometimes 6. I'm not saying the routines aren't lengthy, because they are, because Koreans are all about layering on the different ingredients one over the other. And we talk about our 5 pillars. And so that will explain to you, if you go to that podcast episode, why we do so. Okay, so that'll explain it. But it's when I started Saranghae, when Andrea and I started Saranghae here in Korea, when I kept hearing about, in Canada and the US, I kept hearing about the 10-step. And what I followed the breadcrumb down to where this started. And lo and behold, there's actually an entrepreneur, a young lady named Charlotte Cho, that started a Korean skincare company. And she wrote a book called The Little Book of Skincare. Ooh. And in that book, which is what kind of launched her company, and in that book, she describes the Korean 10-step skincare routine. And I'm sure her mother used this 10-step skincare routine, and I'm sure it makes complete sense. Yeah. And it's from Korea. I have no doubt. But there is no set 10-step Korean skincare routine. If you go to Korea and interviewed 100 women, I am sure that there is going to be just as many 11-step skincare routines and 9-step skincare routines, maybe even a 3-step skip. There's actually a word now. It's called skip care. The Koreans like to do skip care, which is like trying to boil down that 9 to 10-step skincare routine into a 4-step skincare. Well, what is the very first product that came to North America? It was a BB cream.
Yeah, that's right.
A BB cream is the combination of a foundation plus a skincare product. It's a combination in one, right? They're all about skip care, right? That was hot for a long time.
Maybe it's still is. I don't need to.
No, it's not. It's not. No. It's died. I mean, they tried to revitalize it with the CC cream and then the DD cream. I mean, we can't give the the naming convention of the Korean companies is not all that great. But they try to do the CC and DD cream. They don't work out.
It works.
They don't work out. So is the 10-step skincare routine effective? I'm sure it is. Is it Korean? I'm sure it is. Are there women using the 10-step skincare routine? I'm sure there it is. Is it the defining identity of a Korean skincare routine or Korean skincare products? No. You can have anything from a 3-step skincare routine all the way to a 14-step skincare routine. There is no set standard. Yeah.
I think the main thing to take away from this is, even if you want to follow the K-beauty principles or the Korean skincare principles, you really have to look at your lifestyle, your age, and also your skin concerns. And there is no one size fits all. So what works for me won't be necessarily what works for you.
Yeah.
And you have to be open to trying too, because not always, you may buy a whole routine and think, this is it, I've decided, I figured it out, and it doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
So you have to be open to trying. And then the last thing I would say is the most important thing that you can do to ensure that your skincare is effective is to do it.
Exactly.
So being consistent with whatever routine you decide to settle on is really what is going to make the difference.
Exactly.
And I think that's the hardest thing out of all the things. But once you get that down and you're consistent, you will notice a difference. And I'm, an example of that. I'm very regimented with my skincare routine.
Exactly.
I change what I do. I don't do the same thing every day. Change monthly how I use the skincare that I have, but I use it every day. And I'm really, really consistent with that.
Exactly. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Right.
So let's go back a little bit to the history and culture of Korea. How has the history and culture of Korea really influenced the evolution of K-beauty?
Beauty in Korea has gone all the way back to, you can go all the way back to the 12th century, 13th century, where Korea was called Joseon, and history books talk about beauty as an important part of the culture. So apparently it was part of the Confucian culture, and Confucianism states that it is respectful. It's a woman's duty, not a man's duty. It's a woman's duty in the Confucianist culture, or religion, I guess, or philosophy, to respect your neighbors, your friends, and your family, by presenting yourself beautiful at all times.
Ooh.
That's part of the culture. That was part of the philosophy, right?
That's
only for women, of
interesting.
course. Always just for women.
I mean, I can get behind that idea as long as it's both men and women. Because, I mean, if you look at it from the other side, like, as a man, you're presenting yourself well because you care about how your family and your friends, your spouse, how they think of you. And when you look good and you smell good, and, all of that plays into some part of people's perceptions. I can get behind that, but I don't like the idea that it's just women who have to show up well.
I agree, but you have to remember that everything in ancient Korea, and sometimes even up to modern Korea, even beauty was controlled by men, right? So the very first company of repute, I guess, the ones that we would know in modern times, was Amore Pacific, which is now the 10th largest skincare company in the world and number one in Asia. And Amore Pacific, which is funny enough, Amore is basically love, and I believe in French or Italian. I don't know, so it's Korean, but it uses an Italian word, amore.
Yeah,
Pacific.
That's so interesting.
It was the very first company of repute. About 1945, I believe it was founded, and their very first product was the ginseng cream.
Yes.
Which is not surprising because ginseng is revered as the healing plant, the overall healing plant in all over Asia, right? So we eat that, we drink it in tea form, and then we also slather on our skin. Ginseng.
Kind of like what the mushroom is, too.
Exactly. Yes, you're absolutely right. Adaptogenic mushroom.
Yes.
Ginseng was part of all of that, right? And it was founded by a man. And now there's only basically two companies that kind of run all of the Korean beauty industry, which is Amore Pacific, the largest, and LG. Yes, the same guys.
I did not know LG had a skincare company.
Same guys who make your TVs also make your skin creams. And LG owns a bunch of skincare brands like The History of Who, and Amore Pacific owns Hwasu, Laneige, a bunch of other guys. And,
no idea about that. Wow.
And to kind of, I guess, to conclude all of this, as we go into modern times, K-beauty is now morphing closer to what Western beauty is as well. So we are now getting into vitamin C, niacinamide.
Actives.
We're getting into correctives and chemical compounds or synthetic chemical compounds that help or augment natural ingredients. And you're seeing the beauty industry, actually most industries in this global era, kind of merging into one. And you'll see over the next, I think, 4 or 5 years, Korean beauty looking more like U.S. beauty, and U.S. beauty looking more like Korean beauty as well.
Yeah, it's true. They're trying to merge. I don't know if they will, but that's, I guess, like what we're seeing with the sunscreen. People are trying to get the Korean sunscreen. So they're bringing it to market in the U.S., but they're bringing it with different ingredients because of FDA approval.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out how to merge, but it isn't exactly...
Yeah, each market will have its own specialties and whatnot. I think over the long term, the U.S. market will concentrate a lot more on the high-end, expensive market, because that's where they want to decommoditize. Where K-beauty will probably start dominating the lower-end market a little bit more, and all around the world, because K-beauty is still growing, it's still being accepted all around the world, and I think there's still room to play for entry into certain marketplaces.
It's more affordable.
It's much
not
more
every
affordable.
case, but in many cases, K-beauty is, the idea of it is, it's kind of like our mission, our philosophy is that, it should be for everyone. It shouldn't be so outrageously expensive that only the elite of a society can access it. And the ingredients shouldn't be compromised.
Well, that's interesting, right? That also comes from the Confucianist philosophy. The idea of not any more than enough. So Koreans actually abide by this philosophy that anything more than enough is greed, is not necessary. And so
what's more than enough, though? How do you know?
That is different for everyone.
Yes.
That's different for everyone. But that overarching philosophy kind of governs how we live, how we work, and what kind of businesses we run. Yeah. I'm sure that definition varies very wildly, but
that's interesting.
Yeah, but I don't think that North American companies or Western companies ever even think about that, right? They just think about maximizing profit. So
over people sometimes. Anyway,
We're not going to get into that.
we won't go there. What makes K-beauty formulas better and more innovative than the average skincare product on the market today? Or are they better? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think we kind of talked about this before. It's not the ingredient per se. I think it's the sheer amount of new ingredients that's being tested and pushed out and being marketed. There's so many K-beauty companies in Korea. There's probably, compared to Western beauty, 10x. For every one Western beauty company, there's 10 Korean companies doing business in Asia and Southeast Asia. And the competition is fierce.
You know what, though? You know what?
What's that?
I actually think that's true, but I think that there's more to it. I actually do think the K-beauty formulas are better, and the reason why is because of the Korean culture and around pride of ownership.
That too.
And so for those who don't know, when we are formulating a product, the Korean labs that we work with are very, very meticulous and particular about every aspect. So every step can take much longer than it might take here in North America because the name goes on it. And they're so proud of the quality and care that they have come to be known as, that they will not budge if it's not perfect to their standard.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that. It's annoying sometimes because sometimes we want to get things out faster, or what they're fussy about is, for example, the color is slightly off. And for us, as long as it's not an ingredient malfunction or a smell or something that's going to cause harm, sometimes it's not a big deal if the color is slightly off. And they're like, absolutely not. It's not perfect. We're not and then it goes back to the testing phase, so a product that you get in your hands could have taken 2 years from end to end.
Yeah.
And so working as a Korean company in North America can be a challenge in that way. But the benefit is that 100% you're getting the best quality, the best product that is 100% made with love.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I think we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
When you talk about quality, what Andrea is talking about is definitely true, and we definitely appreciate that. Yeah. When you talk about innovation of ingredients, it really stems from the competition.
Yeah.
Korean companies must innovate at a breakneck pace because there's so much competition ongoing. And that's just now the culture over there.
How to stay alive.
Yeah.
How to stay current and...
Well, the other thing, too, is that because the cosmetics industry is so tied in with the commercial aspects or the economic portion of the country, governments, the Korean government, gives out grants and loans to universities and companies to develop new cosmetic ingredients and skincare ingredients and skincare formulations. Yeah. So just as an FYI, our triple mushroom formulation was partially funded at a university in Seoul to stabilize the triple mushroom formula because before Saranghae, well, we are the only ones that have the triple mushroom complex because before us, nobody has taken the time to stabilize 3 adaptogenic mushrooms in a skincare formulation. So we're the first and the only. I'm sure we won't be the last.
No.
I'm sure there will be more mushroom complex, adaptogenic mushroom formulas in the future, but we have the lead, and that counts for something.
And so the universities reward you with that type of innovative work.
So what happens is...
It's not the university, so the government.
Yes, what happens is governments have a fund or they have a grant, some money set aside, and you basically apply for funding, and the funding is given to the company and a university to work together.
So cool.
Yeah. So there's actually a system in place for the cosmetics industry or the skincare industry. I don't think we have that here in North America.
No, I don't think so either. Maybe we do, just haven't done anything.
I think the conclusion is just it's a big deal in Korea. Right?
I love that, though. I love that they support innovation in that way. And they're bringing in university students to solve a problem. That's awesome.
And part of that, it can be overwhelming, right? Because we go to Korea quite frequent to look at new innovation, to talk to our partners, and to figure out what's upcoming next. And it can be overwhelming. In fact, it is overwhelming.
It is overwhelming.
Yeah. And so it's a good and a bad thing for us, I guess.
When we were in Hong Kong this past November, I found it overwhelming. Like I didn't know where to look or where to start. And if it wasn't for you and Frank, I think I would have just went home and went to bed.
It was, yeah, and it becomes more overwhelming as time goes on. As the world opens up to K-beauty and welcomes them in, the throughput of Korean beauty products and companies now going through this funnel is absolutely huge. Like, if you look at some of the aggregators, some of the stores that sell K-beauty, there are names I have never heard before. I probably won't hear again. You know, somebody else will replace it. It's it's pretty crazy what's happening in the cosmetics world.
It's crazy and cool. I'm enjoying it. I think it's so much to learn and so much ahead, and it's kind of exciting.
I think the last question we have to talk about is, what's next?
Yeah.
What does the future look like for us as a K-beauty brand and for Korean beauty overall? Andrea, what do you think?
Yeah, well, what's next is, we will continue to be innovating and, learning and growing and trying to find the next product or product line that will shake the boat on what K-beauty is and things that actually work. Like, we're not in the business of just bringing in trending products. We're looking for effective ingredients that are clean, that are healthy for you, for your children, for your body inside and out. And we're also looking for things that are cool and different that you wouldn't just see on the shelf at Shoppers Drug Mart. Yeah.
And from an overall industry perspective, I got to be honest, I don't know. The industry moves so quick. Who knows what's in store for the next 5 years? I mean, with the advent of AI, that could change a lot of things in the industry. And so all I can do is kind of keep my eye on it and move quickly when things do shift. What I do not know is this. I think K-beauty and world beauty will merge. I think a lot of the markets will take cue from K-beauty and they'll just simply start following it. I think that K-beauty will continue to just churn out as many ingredients and formulas as they possibly can. Some will work, some won't. And all we can hope for is we do the right things, make the right decisions, I guess.
From an ethical perspective as well.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely.
So, is K-beauty really about 10 steps? Not necessarily. It's about layering the right products for your skin's unique needs, whether that's 3 steps or 10. At its core, K-beauty is about innovation, science-backed ingredients, and a deep-rooted philosophy of self-care. It's why it continues to set the standard in skincare worldwide. If you're ready to elevate your skincare game, check out lovesaranghae.com for products inspired by the best of K-beauty. As always, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.
안녕하세요.
Thanks for listening to Love Saranghae with us, Peter and Andrea. If you've enjoyed this episode, leave us a review. Your ratings and reviews help more people like you find our show. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and share this podcast with someone you think would love it. Until next time, love yourself, love one another, and love the world.